And welcome back to another edition of the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports, AM 1510, FM 93.7. Packed show, so we're going to get right into it with the Inked Out Buzz Block with J.R. Gordon. What's up, J.R.?
Hey, greetings, Matt. I want to say I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. I hope you guys are doing well today also.
Yeah, it was a fantastic holiday weekend. There's nothing wrong with spending a lot of time with family and great food.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say hello to the fight fans and say that this week the Inked Out Buzz Block is, of course, sponsored by Inked Out Apparel. The Inked Out charitable cause Hoodies for the Homeless is set to have even more success this year than they did last year. Online purchases made through the end of November will benefit this charity. So visit the store online at www.inkdout.net for your extreme lifestyle clothing designed by lifestyle enthusiasts. Unfortunately, we're going to have to start off the segment this week, guys, with some sad news. Former heavyweight contender in boxing, Mr. Ron Lyle, who fought both Ali and Foreman, he lived in Denver. He died at 70 years old on Saturday. The gentleman, Mr. Lyle, helped run a charity boxing program, and it's my understanding that he trained on an almost daily basis. So condolences to the boxing community for their loss, to everybody that was affected by him. I know he did a lot of charitable work, and of course condolences to his family from MMA Buzz and the MMA Meltdown team. Yeah, he left a great legacy that's going to live on for a long time, so that's what we'll remember about him.
Absolutely.
So, with that having been said, I want to let our fight fans know that coming up this December is possibly the busiest month that Colorado MMA has had all year long. From December 3rd through the weekend of the 17th, there's going to be a total of 6 live MMA events in Colorado. So grab hold of your pens, fight fans, because we're going to give you all the information that you need for these events.
6 events, that's crazy. I got to get me a couple cases of Zions and just get ready for all that.
Man, I'm scrambling thinking about what it's going to be like covering all these events. It's a ton of fun coming up, I tell you what.
Yeah, see, because we on the show are fortunate enough to have to be able to or have the ability to recap. You do the play-by-play for all of these, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much 90% of these that are coming up I'm going to be at live. So there's a couple of weekends where we've got 2 shows happening. So, of course, I'm going to have to farm out a little bit of work. But, you know, MMA Buzz, we've got a strong team behind us. So we'll get it covered for the fight fans.
Right. You guys do have a strong team, and they can follow the play-by-play on MMABuzz.com, right?
That's correct, and our Facebook page will be doing live results from all of the events, which is just MMABuzz.com on Facebook.
All right, I'm excited. Let's get it going.
Okay, first up, Kickdown 98, the event's titled Conquer. That's happening December 3rd at the Red Lion Hotel Central in Denver. This is That Fight Promotion's 10th calendar year, and they're looking to close out this year really strong. Their main event at this show going to feature Nick Laney versus Larry Williams, and in the co-main event, Vellore Caballero versus Andrew Hugeboom.
And speaking of Vellore, we're actually going to have Vellore on the show later this next segment, JR.
That's going to be outstanding. Really look forward to it. I think it's his 3rd or 4th title defense for this promotion, so that's going to be great.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to him about it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, big guy. I'm just excited he's coming in studio.
No worries. We got tickets available for this show by calling 720-422-5154. The doors for this show open at 6:30. First fight kicks off at 7:30. One more time, that number to call for tickets, 720-422-5154. So that's how we start our December off. Then the following Friday, December 9th, it's one of those weekends we talked about that has 2 events. First up, the beatdown of the Rocky Mountain Bad Boys event titled Rise of the Modern Day Gladiator. Fights are going to happen at Red and Jerry's in Sheridan. Doors open at 6:30. Fights start at 7:30. And the main event for this one features Henry Solis versus Ed Banks. And then the co-main event, which is also a title fight, is going to feature Brian Marinick versus Michael Matthews. I'm going to give out the numbers and ticket information for this. Then you and I can talk a little bit about those two matchups, Matt.
Yep.
There's two numbers you can call for tickets, either 720-933-6147 or else 710-275-7972. You got tickets available at ticketswest.com or at King Supers. One more time, those numbers you can call, 720-933-6147 or else 710-275-7972. At this show, they're going to be having a food and a toy drive at the door. So bring some canned goods or non-perishable products, or bring some kids' toys with you, and you can help out that charitable cause. So Ed Banks versus Henry Solis. Ed Banks, fairly well-established guy. Henry Solis, a guy that is established as a good fighter but hasn't had a ton of fights behind him, so he's working his way up through the ranks, looking to make himself a name off of beating Ed Banks. That will do a lot for his career, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed Banks, like you're saying, is an established fighter. He's had some exciting fights. So at least, like you're saying, could use a little bit more action inside of the cage on a more frequent basis. You know, that might be the difference between these two fights, is just the comfortable level, the comfort level that they both have in that cage.
Absolutely. And then in the co-main event, Brian Marinick, versus Michael Matthews. I think this fight has fight of the night written all over it. Marinick, really solid background, fought for some titles in Wyoming when he used to live there, versus Michael Matthews, a guy that's fought for a couple titles here in the Denver area. Both really, really strong, both super athletic, and I know the conditioning is always on point for both these fighters, so I see them being able to just really bring it to one another.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be an exciting fight, a lot of fireworks, a lot of tough punches being thrown. You know, Brian is a real tough competitor. You know, it was hurting him a lot just not being able to fight in the cage, and I see him at a few different gyms, you know, working out and improving on his skill set. So, I mean, it's going to be an exciting fight. I mean, Brian's a dangerous guy. Matthews, again, like you're saying, he has an established history as well, so it's going to be a good fight.
All right. So then the following weekend, December 9th, you can check out the Phase nightclub in Loveland, which is where the Universal Fight Alliance is going to have their 6th show, aptly titled Universal Fight Alliance 6th. This is the sister promotion of the Kickdown, and for tickets to this event, you can call 720-422-5154. Doors open at 5:30. Fights start at 7:30. Again, that number you can call, 720-422-5154. And it's the main event going to feature Aaron Christopher, a fighter, I believe, out of Wyoming, making his pro debut versus a well-established fighter in the Colorado region, Mr. John Sargent.
Yeah, you know.
So we can look. I'm sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you know, it's easy for us to kind of pick apart a fighter that isn't from the Colorado region just because we don't have a lot of opportunities to see him fight. But when you got a guy coming in here, you know, from out of his home state of Wyoming into Colorado, it's his first pro debut, you know he's been training really hard. Or at least we hope that he's been training really hard. So, I mean, those fights always, you know, they could go either way. They could be, you know, one-sided or they can be a good war.
Yeah, and knowing the matchmaking that Steve Alley does, it's not going to be a one-sided fight. Steve always puts together good talent. He's been doing it for 10 years, so I think fans can look forward to something pretty special at that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then coming up the following weekend, December 16th, that brings us to the Ultimate Top Team fights at the American Top Team Altitude Gym, which is located at 12455 East Mississippi Avenue in Aurora. Doors for this show open at 6. Fights start at 7:30. You can get information by calling 303-382-5555 833-366-0629. Or for tickets, you can go to Cage Tix. That's T-I-X. So CageTix.com. There hasn't been a main event announced for this fight yet, but the show is promoted by Bobby Lashley, and he always showcases new fighters on his cards now.
Yeah, and he's coming fresh off his win, so, he doesn't want to come out here with so much momentum from his win and just kind of put out a flat card. So I'm excited to see what you can put together.
Yeah, it should be a great night for the fight fans. So that's on a Friday night. Then December 17th, we have two events.
Yeah, that's the one.
First event, yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
First event is the Beatdown and Rocky Mountain Bad Boys event, titled Proving Grounds at the Grizzly Rose. Now, this is an afternoon show with the doors opening at 1 o'clock, and the fights begin at 2 o'clock. Main event is going to feature last week's MMA Meltdown guest, J Merc versus Stephanie Skinner. And then the co-main event features Justin Houghton versus Ricardo McKinney. And we're pretty happy to say, included on this card, American Ground and Pound Company founder, Mr. Mike Larita.
Yeah.
Mr. Larita is an administrator at the Thomas Jefferson High School. So a portion of the proceeds from this show going to benefit the Thomas Jefferson High School wrestling team. You can get your tickets at two numbers, either 720-933-6147 or else 710-275-7972. Also, tickets are available at Ticketmaster. One more time, those numbers, 720-933-6147 or else 710-275-7972. So, Matt, let's talk just for a minute about Mike fighting on this show. He's a wrestling coach. He's got to step up. He's got to show his kids how it's done. He's got to show them what it means to train and what it means to actually get in there and put it all on the line. A lot of pressure on Mike, but I know him, and I'm assuming for certain that he's going to be doing this with a big old smile on his face.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike is a competitor. Ever since I've known him, he's been known as a competitor. Him and American Ground and Pound are proud sponsors of the MMA Meltdown show, and everything that him and his company does for MMA, Colorado MMA, is fantastic. So I'm sure he's taking this very serious. So it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Going to be a great show all around. So you can catch that show in the afternoon. Then later that night, still talking about December 17th, at the First Bank Center is Ring of Fire 42 showing off their Who's Next show. Ring of Fire, been entertaining Colorado fight fans for 11 years, and many Strikeforce, WEC, and UFC careers have been launched from the Ring of Fire show. It's pretty likely that some of those that we see winning at this event, we're pretty soon going to be seeing them on an even bigger stage, Matt.
Yeah, I agree, and the promotion video for this fight is ridiculous. I'll post it on MMA Meltdown's Facebook page. It's going to be a great card. It's a well-established show. The history of fighters coming out of that show is fantastic, so always exciting to see a Ring of Fire show.
Very cool indeed. Doors for this show open at 6. Preliminary bouts start at 6:30. Main card begins at 7:30. For tickets, you can call 866-461-6556 or visit TicketHorse.com. Again, that number you can call, 866-461-6556. Some of the fighters that are going to be featured on this card, big names here: Tyler Toner, Nick Macias, Ryan Schultz, Michelle Blaylock, Justin Gaethje, and Mike Baldwin. Those are all fights that we can see that night.
Huge card.
All right. That's it, fight fans, for what's going to be coming up in December. Of course, MMABuzz.com going to be getting our fans' results live from cage side, as well as conducting post-fight video interviews. And real quickly, I want to mention, speaking of fighting on a bigger stage, Brandon Thatch, also a Ring of Fire veteran, going to compete in Canada December 2nd. And, of course, we at MMA Buzz and the MMA Meltdown team want to wish him well in his fight. And then one other thing coming up for Colorado fighters, just because he's a member of the MMA Meltdown team, our own Jared Mercado, set to compete in early 2012 for Fight to Win. That's going to be awesome, Matt.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
All right. right, well, thanks for listening to the Inked Out Buzz Block on the MMA Meltdown radio show. And remember, we are
Hey, JR, I'm sorry to
Sports.
interrupt you, JR, but we do got to get going to break, buddy. Thank you as always. You are tuned in to the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports, AM 1510, FM 93.7.
We call Michael Jordan the Gary Gate of basketball.
This guy's unbelievable.
We are Mile High Sports.
If you're looking for ultimate relaxation, better performance and functionality, and a healthier you, then check out A Better Way to Feel. A Better Way to Feel offers clients an alternative solution to pain. Massage can help improve performance in athletes, allow for better functionality, increase recovery time from injuries, and more. Contact Maureen Reardon at 303-888-9516 or go to abetterwaytofeel.com. Maureen taught the massage program at Heritage College and has worked with the Colorado Rapids and MMA athletes. Mention this ad and save 20% off first-time services. A Better Way to Feel, an alternative solution to pain.
When looking for the finest in Mexican cuisine, no one can top the Burrito King Tafolinos. Try our Chicken Mole Wednesdays or our famous smothered burritos while you cool off with an ice-cold margarita. Or do what MMA Meltdown does and conquer the Tafolinos Grande platter. So bring down the family and have a great Tafolinos family night out at one of our convenient locations in Golden on the corner of 20th and Youngfield, or check out our delicious menu at tafolinos.com. Tafolinos.
Studio Vienna at Shred a New Look offers a full-service salon including customized sports injury massage treatments, full-service skincare treatments including waxing, makeup, and both hair and nail care. We offer services for both men and women, and all our services are fully customizable. We are located at 6050 West 92nd Avenue in Westminster, Colorado, or you can call us at 303-424-6461 for more information. Right now, we are offering 3 one-hour massage sessions, normally $195, now only $135. And you will get a free month of training at 303 Training Center, home of Dwayne Ludwig, with any purchase of $65 and more from Studio Vienna at Shred a New Look. Call us now, 303-424-6461.
Would you like to train with legends such as UFC and Pride heavyweight champion Antonio Nogueira, Jeremy Horn, Royce Gracie, Dan Severn, and more? Then Mile High MMA Network is for you. Mile High MMA Network is where fighters and fans come together for your seminar needs. If you're interested in teaching or attending one of our seminars, contact Jeff at 719-623-9504 or go to MileHighMMANetwork.com. Again, that's MileHighMMANetwork.com.
Science, the official energy drink of the UFC. Available at your local King Soopers, Loaf and Jug, Jenny's Market, Circle K convenience stores, and 7-Eleven.
The Colorado Fight Book is Colorado's only MMA coupon book for Colorado's MMA industry. We drive you new business, more exposure, more revenue, all at zero cost to advertisers. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we tweet local deals. Fight Book is a win-win situation for all Colorado MMA fans and businesses. We give you repetitive exposure to customers who are already interested in your product. Join the best gyms, events, clothing, and equipment suppliers and promoters in the state.
The best party in town also has the best sports in town, Fox and Hound. Catch all the gameplay action on their big screen TVs. Try all their mouth-watering appetizers and entrees. You'll score big with their selection of ice-cold beers on tap. Get into the Fox and Hound and get into the game. Looking for a great place for your holiday party? They got you covered. Hurry into their 4 Denver area locations today. Fox and Hound. Sports, spirits, and fun.
And welcome back to the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7, where we are Mile High Sports. got off with a great start, as always, with J.R. Gordon and the Inked Out Buzz Block. Ron Goldstein here with me.
Hello, hello.
What up, gangsta?
What up, what up?
Chilling like a villain?
Absolutely.
Thanks for making the drive in.
Thanks for having me again.
Our boy J Merc, Jared Mikado, finding his flight home.
J Mercules.
Fresh off of J Mercules. Cookie breath. Fresh off his victory in New Jersey. Our boy, Vellore. What's going on, Vellore?
What's happening, guys?
Vellore Caballero.
That's right, that's right.
Now, there's a more official way to say it.
Yeah, you know, it's correctly pronounced. It's Vellore Francisco Caballero. That's my name.
I haven't watched nearly enough Telemundo to get that down at all.
Whatever.
You know what I mean? I could roll some R's and stuff like that, but there's a couple vowels in there I feel are a little unnecessary.
Well, you know.
Practice.
Yeah, Vellore's going to talk to us a little bit later about what's going on with him. He's going to be defending his title a little bit later. When's that fight? December, right?
Yeah, it's next Saturday, December 3rd at the 98th installment of Steve Alley's Kickdown. I'd love to have everybody out there. I think it's going to be a great show, so I'm excited, yeah.
Awesome show. He always puts on a great show.
Yeah, and you know, during commercial break, we were talking about it as we were all enjoying these Zions', the Frostberry Blast. These ones taste like Otter Pops.
Delicious, man.
We're
definitely delicious.
We're going to kill that whole case by the time the show's over.
I think so.
Chris, you got yours? Look at him.
You bet.
Yeah, you got to put it down.
It's already halfway done.
Yeah. We're going to, we were talking about the importance of shows and the different atmospheres that they each bring to them. I mean, really, shows like Ring of Fire, Fight to Win, Kickdown, Rocky Mountain Bad Boys, they're what leads fighters up to the big shows, Zuffa, Bellator, K1, Pride. You know what I mean? And it's not just Colorado, but every state has these type of promotions. Some of them are just getting started off, like Wyoming, just barely starting out. Nebraska, their MMA scene's barely starting to grow in the real infant stages. But how important are these shows?
Hugely important, first of all. Big-time feeder systems for the big shows, obviously, as we know. But again, one of the things that kind of some people I think forget about, too, is it's a big stimulus for the local economy here. I mean, everybody here in Denver, everybody here in Colorado, I mean, they come, no matter where the show is, they come. And I think that's hugely important, not only for, building their own brand, but actually kind of getting up-and-coming fighters some notoriety about, being on the national stage. I mean, it's, there's no question about it that Colorado fighters are some of the best-conditioned guys in the country. Very, very technical guys. We have unbelievable training resources here in Colorado, and it shows every single fight. I mean, every single installment of any fight, really, you get to see some real gems come out of Colorado.
Yeah.
Hugely important.
And even in the short amount of time that I've been around the scene, you've just kind of seen that level really raise up at all the shows, not just on the production level and everything, but from the fighters. Yep. I remember back when I had my first fight in 2004, the level of amateurs, at that point was, not as nearly as advanced as it is right now. I mean, when you see guys come out now, they're going amateur with purple belts in jiu-jitsu and, 5 years of striking experience and stuff. So the levels definitely come up quite a bit, and I think that's important too because it makes everybody be a little bit more, advanced and stuff before they get in there.
100% agree.
Yeah, and that just gets everybody ready for the big shows for sure.
Plus, the training partners get better and better, and that's kind of what gives us these fantastic fights, like we were talking about the last time with Alvarez and Chandler. I mean, these guys are both training with superstars, every day, all day. You can't help but have a great fight like that. You know what I mean? Same with Hendo.
Oh yeah.
So. And I think the rate that it's growing is just crazy to step back. I mean, realistically, if you look back in the early 90s, even say late 90s, early 2000s, you could get into a bigger show with a 4-0 record, a 5 and 2 wins, or 2 wins for every loss. And now it's definitely a lot harder to get into those shows. You got things like Tough. To try to, but even that's becoming an event in itself. Just trying to get in there. Next season is going to be live.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's just going to be crazy. Ring of Fire, Sven did a great road to Ring of Fire. Jason Lee, definitely understands the benefit of somebody coming up through a show like that. It was a tough fight for him, but I just think people coming together like that and the way that it's the world's fastest growing sport, MMA.
Sure.
And I think not only are the promoters, the sponsors, but also the fans.
Huge.
They're growing right along with it. I mean, my mom didn't know anything about MMA, 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh yeah.
But now she knows what a rear naked choke is.
And you're talking 37% of the audience is female.
Wow.
That watches MMA.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even. Wow. That's
so
crazy.
Shorts.
It's the shorts. That's right.
Just so
I got to get some tighter shorts.
Just so I could, just so females are aware. That's a cup, guys.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Get out of here.
He's lying. He's lying. That's all
check.
natural.
But really, I mean, again, they feed into each other, and it's not really a situation where the promoters are at each other's necks. I mean, they feed into each other. I mean, Kickdown, Rocky Mountain Bad Boy will eventually feed into a Fight to Win, which will eventually, they're almost on the same tier as Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire, it's tough to really put anybody above them considering the names that they've had. I mean, Carwin, Cerrone, Shaw, Ludwig, and the list goes on and on.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And these aren't guys that had moderate success. I mean, these are guys that have held championships before.
Absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy. So, I mean...
Even with the big shows, though, like with Bellator and UFC, they're kind of playing nice now. You know what I mean? It's interesting. I think that the UFC is so focused on their brand and what they're doing and how they're going to grow it. But yet Bellator is doing the exact same thing with a little bit different of a format. It's fantastic. It's great.
Now, I'll be the first one to say it, and you can quote me on this, 4 or 5 months down the road. At one point in time, you will see the MMA industry in terms of promotions getting somewhat cutthroat, just like the lockout from the NBA and the NFL. There's just too much money starting to become involved in it. If you look at Spike right now, what's going on with them and the UFC and the Bellator, right now Spike owns the UFC libraries through 2012.
Correct.
While Spike has already signed a contract with Bellator.
Correct.
And the contract stipulation in there is that Spike cannot run any other MMA show while they own the contract for Zuffa.
Right.
But that's exactly where we're at right now.
Yep.
And Dana White says, well, there's going to be UFC on Spike. I really don't think there is, unless Bellator just understands the situation. But even then, they're going to be losing out on a lot of money because Spike has done a lot for the UFC.
Sure.
They have.
And the UFC's done a lot for Spike.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's been a great relationship, and it's not necessarily that now the UFC is with Fox, and they're kind of forgetting where they came from and things like that because they want to stay UFC. I mean, Dana White and his team are just
unbelievable,
brilliant guys.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
they're
the best
smartest
in
individuals.
Sports.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not going to try to cut ties with anything that's going to bring more money into them. But it's definitely a situation where the popularity of MMA is just going crazy.
And to kind of back that up, look, you have Viacom that buys Bellator, and Viacom's family of networks is massive. I mean, massive. They own so many different channels that you see on cable right now that you're going to see MMA all the time. The only thing that I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't happen is oversaturation of the market. And that's something that we have to kind of be careful of.
I don't think that that's going to be, I hear that sometimes, I think, when people talk about oversaturation of the market, but I believe as long as they're putting on quality shows, it can't really happen, And I think that when you have shows like Bellator and the UFC where when you turn it on, you're going to see like high-level guys competing against each other. If shows try to put out anything less than that, I think that the consumers will, wash it right away.
I
think that that's happened in the past with some other shows that didn't make it. Is that maybe the level of competition wasn't up to par, or the production level, or whatever it was, and they just didn't make it. So I think if people try to come out with more UFC type of promotions and things like that, they're going to have to do it pro,
right.
and they're going to have the right money invested and everything else, or else the fans just won't have it. Because not after the UFC, not after Strikeforce, not after all these high level shows that we've had, people aren't going to have it.
That's true.
I think there can be a level of saturation, though, at the local level. I mean, look at December. I mean, we were talking about it earlier as well. December is a huge month for MMA in Colorado, and huge. I mean, not only are shows like Rocky Mountain Bad Boy and Kickdown having to compete with the bigger guys like Ring of Fire, but it's a situation where people are going to have to make a decision in terms of what they're going to get their kids and their family for Christmas.
True. Good point.
And,
I didn't even think about that. I mean, and you're right. As far as that goes, there's definitely could be oversaturation. I know our fight is on the same night as the live finale of the Tough show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that kind of bummed me out a little bit because I know for a lot of people that might actually be a tough decision. Do we go and support the local boy, or do we watch this finale of the season we've been following? But I hope everybody TiVos it and comes out anyways.
That's right. That's what they should do.
But I mean, locally, I think the saturation level it just has to do with promoters, probably trying to meet their own financial needs and whatnot.
Sure.
But I mean, you think that they should get together and maybe figure that stuff out as far as like how they're going to navigate the year or the quarter or stuff like that in order to keep it from happening, or how do you solve that problem?
I think they all have really great relationships. I mean, you see Keith down at the Ring of Fire shows, you see Seth there, you see Sven. I mean, they all go to each other's shows. So I think the relationship there, I think it's there.
Sure.
But then again, how do you sit back and look and strategically say, you know what, this month is the prime month for MMA ticket sales? How do you determine who's going to go there? Because it's not going to be fair if you say, well, Ring of Fire just by default because we're the biggest show in Colorado, we're going to get it. Because the reality of it is it's a lot easier for Rocky Mountain Bad Boy to sell out a venue like Red and Jerry's than it is for the Broomfield Event Center. So I mean, ideally, you would like to see something like that, but it's the end of the year. Fighters are trying to get their shows in.
You know, one of the things, too, is that the guys, you know, the promoters that are putting on shows here in Colorado, I notice that they don't overcharge people to get into the shows. And I think that that's a big and important piece of getting everybody to attend more shows, is that they know that if they do give a reasonable price on tickets, people do show up. And I think that they kind of understand that dynamic in this, especially in our market here. And they make these fights, you know, affordable to go to, bring your family to.
Yeah.
And it's a great time. I mean, it's the best time going. So.
And I'm blessed with a great family that enjoys MMA fights, so it's a win-win for me because I could buy MMA tickets as my Christmas gift.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy. I mean, it's so busy. I mean, what was it? July, August, September, October, just like the UFC was having fights every weekend.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, this weekend's a nice downtime section for it, but it's really just the calm before the storm.
That's exactly what it is. That's
you know what I mean? But it's crazy. I mean, you know, it would.
Thank God, huh?
It would be great if the promoters were going to get together and have a bunch of shows in this short period of time. If I was a fan and didn't have, you know, the chances to talk to people that I can talk to, it would be great if we can get all the promoters together and be like, all right,
set a calendar.
There's 4 MMA shows. Let's set one large price, say something like $125, and you get 2 tickets to every show. You know, bundle it. I mean, figure it out.
Bundles work.
You know,
and they work.
And they do work.
Yep.
I mean,
that
the
would
shows
definitely be nice. I know, you know, because a lot of people, they definitely want to support their fighters and, you know, the people from their gym or whatever. And something like that would definitely probably go a long way. I mean, but how do you get you know, that, it seems like that probably get a little bit complicated as far as figuring out who gets what.
It's just communication, I think, and you hit it right on the head. I mean, you got to be able to communicate. I think Colorado's lucky that really all the promoters do get along. It's not like that everywhere in the country, you know, but we are fortunate with that. So
yeah, and professional. You know,
and professional.
The level of professionalism from these guys is second to none. I mean,
Yep.
Facebook is, they can call it relationship ruiner or whatever they want to call it, but the reality of it is if you're friends with a bevy of promoters, not just from Colorado, you see the drama coming through on their posts. I mean, they don't hold some of the stuff back.
No.
So I mean, you can kind of see how promoters. I mean, there was one promotion, I think it was in California or Texas, where one promoter put the likeness of another promoter on the fight card's poster.
Wow.
And now that promoter who the character was about is suing the original one for likeness rights.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so it's crazy. So we are blessed to have such great promotions in Colorado. I mean, and the level of performances that the fighters put on, the great matchmaking, it's great. But like you guys are saying, I mean, we talk about family, but think about the teammates.
Sure.
I mean, Grudge got X amount of guys.
Yep.
Factory X got X amount of guys that can fight several times throughout the month.
Yep.
I mean, how do they go support all their teammates through all this?
Yep.
Right.
They, you know, it's communication, really. That's what it comes down to, no matter what it is. So.
You got to get the promoters into your fight book.
They're in there.
See what I mean? Calls during the show, 303-297-1510. Best call gets a fight book for free, thanks to Ron.
Let's double it. Best 2 calls get 2 fight books.
Best 2 calls get 2 fight books. That's
Let's
crazy.
do it.
Look at Vellore's calling right now.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy. We still got a great show coming up. We got Alvin the Kid Robinson coming up. We got Lumumba Sayers coming up. We're going to take another segment kind of just like this one. We're just kind of freestyling it. But it's a great show so far.
Fantastic.
Thanks for tuning in to the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports, AM 1510, FM 93.7. We are Mile High Sports.
We know you can't hike Mount Matumbo. We are Mile High Sports.
When looking for the finest in Mexican cuisine, no one can top the Burrito King Tafolinos. Try our Chicken Mole Wednesdays or our famous smothered burritos while you cool off with an ice-cold margarita. Or do what MMA Meltdown does and conquer the Tafolinos Grande platter. So bring down the family and have a great Tafolinos family night out at one of our convenient locations in Golden on the corner of 20th and Youngfield, or check out our delicious menu at tafolinos.com. Tafolinos.
The official energy drink of the UFC. Available at your local King Soopers, Loaf and Jug, Jenny's Market, Circle K convenience stores, and 7-Eleven.
The Colorado Fight Book is Colorado's only MMA coupon book for Colorado's MMA industry. We drive you new business, more exposure, more revenue, all at zero cost to advertisers. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we tweet local deals. Fightbook is a win-win situation for all Colorado MMA fans and businesses. We give you repetitive exposure to customers who are already interested in your product. Join the best gyms, events, clothing, and equipment suppliers and promoters in the state.
The best party in town also has the best sports in town. Fox and Hound. Catch all the gameplay action on their big screen TVs. Try all their mouth-watering appetizers and entrees. You'll score big with their selection of ice-cold beers on tap. Get into the Fox and Hound and get into the game. Looking for a great place for your holiday party? They got you covered. Hurry into their 4 Denver area locations today. Fox and Hound. Sports, spirits, and fun.
Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora opening this December. Join before the club opens and save big with our founding member rates. Hurry into the existing Bally Total Fitness at 13801 East Exposition Avenue in Aurora to join the new Bally Sport and save big today. Restrictions apply. Hurry. Offer ends December 15th. Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora opening this December.
Fusebox Mixed Martial Arts. Fusebox.com. 303-875-4281. Head coach Michael Sullivan is a proven coach in grooming fighters from the ground up. No prior experience necessary. The only Sambo BJJ-based gym in Colorado. Fusebox Sambo, Paxiao BJJ, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, conditioning, and self-defense. Receive 2 free months when you mention MMA Meltdown. Fusebox Mixed Martial Arts. FUSBOXE.com or 303-875-4281.
American Ground and Pound is what the red, white, and blue is all about. This Colorado-born fight gear company provides you with only the best in quality and value. Find our hats, hoodies, and tees for men, women, and youth at AmericanGroundandPound.com or at most Colorado-based MMA events. Show your pride in your country and the world's fastest-growing sport, MMA. Come join the American Ground and Pound Nation on Facebook by searching for American Ground and Pound. American Ground and Pound. Hell yeah, I'm an American.
All right, welcome back to the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports, AM 1510, FM 93.7. It's been a great show so far, and the greatness is going to continue.
Yes.
Because that's what we do.
That's every time.
As expected.
Every time, Matt, like they don't know. They know.
I'm going to sit down for a minute because it's crazy. Right now, our next guest is somebody I've been excited to talk about for a long time. His appearance on the MMA Meltdown radio show is far overdue. My boy, Alvin Robinson. What's going on, Alvin?
Nothing much. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great, man. Doing great. Thanks for taking the time. I know you had to take your wife to the airport, right?
Yeah, I'm still driving. So sorry if it's kind of noisy on my side of the call. But yeah, I took my wife to the airport. I had church this morning. So, but I'm excited to get on the radio show for sure.
Nice, nice. So Alvin, 13-6, and you're coming on to an event that's special. I mean, it's something different. The MMA Power Tour, September 9th. Or when is that event? When is that?
It was scheduled for originally December 3rd. They pushed it back till December 10th, and I think it's looking like it's going to get pushed back to January now.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean,
I don't know for sure, but
and this is going to be in Costa Rica, right?
Yeah, Costa Rica is the first event. I think the second one's Colombia, and then it's just they're going to start. I don't know. They're all over the place. So
yeah, and this is a fight, and this is a promotion that's very it's very intriguing for me because when you look into the potential fights that can happen out of this event, you're fighting Rafael Bueno, who's 7-0 on the MMA Power Tour. The guy he's extremely explosive. He has a lot of speed. Do you welcome this potential pushback to January now that you have time, so that way you can have time to prepare for him now, or are you ready to go right now?
I'm definitely ready to go right now. I'm always in the gym. I'm always training, but. You know, I'd be pretty excited to get in there and fight December 10th, get it over with. I don't like having to wait, but since I have to wait, I have to wait.
Now, you fought some very high-level guys. I mean, Mark Bocek, Nate Diaz, Kenny Florian, just to name a few. You come to this part in your career where this fight could eventually lead you to a title shot in March in Mexico City, depending on, again, what the schedule looks like, if they have to push anything. But it puts you in a situation where you could have a potential rematch against Cameron Dollar, huh?
Yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to, and I'd welcome that at any time. Cameron's a good fighter, and I feel like I didn't perform in that first fight, and I can't wait to get in there with him again.
Now, there was a reason you were having issues, though. I mean, I understand you were saying that there's no excuse. A fighter is a fighter. You don't, it's not like any other job where you could take a sick day. But there was things going on with you physically during that show, wasn't there?
Yeah, I didn't know at the time. I knew I was sick. Leading up to the fight, I was really sick, and it turned out that I had pneumonia. And pretty much when I was fighting with Cameron, my body was shutting down. Like, I was talking to my buddy Matt Wyman, and I was telling him I was actually getting Cameron in chokes. Like, I would put a rear naked choke on him, and I was starting to black out from squeezing.
Wow.
And then I'd let go, and I'd go to something else, go to guillotine, start squeezing, and then all of a sudden I'd start to pass out. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like, I was like, man, what's going on with my body? And at the end of the round, if you guys watched the fight, I was on his back with a full-on rear naked choke, and I let go and rolled to my back and ended up giving up the choke. My body literally shut down. My arms, I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't get up. I had to get carried out of the cage. I couldn't move.
Unbelievable. Alvin, let me ask you a question. What kind of excitement does it give you to possibly kind of expose MMA to all these new markets? Not so much like, Costa Rica, but, Latin America especially, and just kind of giving those fans a chance to really see, high-level guys, but, exciting guys at that. I mean, how does that make you feel as a fighter?
It makes me feel good. I'm helping the sport grow, and I think that mixed martial arts is going to be the number one sport in the world soon. And it's just fighting something that everybody has inside. Everybody likes to fight. Even though you see little kids, you see everything. We all like to fight. And so being able to go out there and perform in a new market and show people what this sport's all about, it definitely excites me for sure.
Does it add any kind of pressure to you, or even to your opponent as well? I mean, like making sure that these guys get a great show. Obviously, they're used to great boxing warriors of their past. How important is putting on a great show? Obviously, to every fighter.
You got to put on a good show to keep the fans coming back.
That's right.
And interested. I mean, with anything, if you get a couple boring fights, and it's like, oh man, that sport sucks or it's boring. So, by matching up myself and Rafael Bueno, I think that the MMA Power Tour is making good choices. That's going to be an exciting fight.
I agree.
Now, we kind of talk about, how it's important for you to put on a good show just to keep the fans' interest. But how important is it for you to have a good show so you can keep the promoters' interest? I mean, you get a guy. I mean, unless you're on the local level, you're really not going to get too many shots on bigger shows.
That is true, and I mean, the ultimate goal for anybody that's in this business is to get to the UFC, and the only way to get to the UFC is to not only win, but you got to win in dominant fashion. You got to put on exciting fights. Otherwise, you're going to be, trying to find fights on the local shows for a long time. The Power Tour is definitely a big show, and I would love to be their champion, but eventually, I want to get into the UFC, so I got to go out there and show the world I'm an exciting fighter, and every time I step in that cage, that they can expect fireworks.
Hey, Alvin, this is Vellore Caballero, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Vellore?
Hey, good to speak to you, bro. I train with you, and as I hear you talking about this, and I know a lot of young fighters out there probably be curious about something like this. When you talk about making it to that big show like that, and then you have something immediately in front of you like this Power Tour, like you do, how do you keep all of that in perspective? I mean, obviously you want to focus on the opponent that you have right in front of you, but how much does that overall goal of making it to the UFC and everything come into those individual fights and stuff? Like they were asking earlier, what's that pressure like to perform and to do well so that you can ultimately get there? Or do you just focus on the task at hand and beating that opponent that's right in front of you?
Well, of course, trying to get the W is the most important part, but it definitely adds pressure. You want to go out there, and I mean, you hear fighters say it all the time. They'll go in there and they'll have a lackluster performance, and the first thing they're saying is, man, next time I'm going to put on an exciting fight. Please, come back and watch me. Because you don't want the fans to say, oh, man, so-and-so's a boring fighter. Right. So there's definitely pressure, and you feel like, all right, I got to go out there and I got to perform, but at the same time, I got to get the win. So
now, Alvin, you're an iconic MMA athlete, fighter, persona in Colorado, and people know you. I mean, outside of Colorado, obviously people know you. Again, you've had several appearances, too. what fighters would call the big show in the UFC. At this point, where do you see your future taking you? Because we've had a lot of fighters on this show, and they all it's not always across the board that I'm fighting for a championship. Some people are fighting for the love of it. Some people are fighting because it's their living. It's how they make their money. Where do you ultimately see your career ending up at?
I definitely want to be world champion. You know, I want to be the champion in the UFC, champion of the world. But you know, I'm a spiritual guy. I'm a Christian, so really what I fight for is to I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a youth leader out of Bethel Biblical, and I want to use my fighting to draw in the youth, and, you know, help troubled teams and stuff like that. So for me, it's more about when I feel like God's saying, okay, you're done fighting, you don't need to do this anymore. I'm gonna move on. But I definitely feel if I can become a world champion, that's my ultimate goal.
You know, and I think that's what a lot of people are, and I just don't think they're getting it in terms, I mean, because you have diehard MMA fans, but I think people who are new to the sport, people who maybe don't understand it, they don't get the power that MMA has. It's not just about going out there, punching somebody, beating somebody up. This sport, the people within the sport, people like you, Alvin, Vellore, you work with a lot of kids. It has the ability to influence kids in the most positive way that it's incredible that the sport itself and the athletes within the sport aren't getting more credit for the things that they're doing. Because you don't, if I'm a first-time MMA viewer, I'm not going to expect to see the guy that just got punched in the face to go to church that next Sunday and lead a children's youth group.
Good point.
But that's the reality of it is that there's so many people in terms of the fighters, the coaches, everybody involved, promoters, sponsors. I mean, look at Mike from American Ground and Pound. I mean, he's giving all of his proceeds to the Thomas Jefferson High School.
Yep.
How much more credit do you think that the athletes and everybody involved in MMA need to get when they're doing things such as what you're talking about now?
I think that's what the promoters should be focusing on. You see shows like The Ultimate Fighter, or, you know, any shows where they're showcasing MMA fighters, you know, the CBS thing, they're always putting the guys like, you know, Kimbo, who, I'm out of prison, I'm a street fighter, YouTube's #1, whatever. You know, it's always the bad guys that they showcase because it makes for exciting TV. But they need to showcase the good guys in the sport sometimes. You know, there's a lot of good guys in the sport. Some of the best, nicest guys that I know are fighters. And most people that aren't mixed martial arts fans, they think, oh, these guys, they fight in a cage and there's no rules, and they bite, and they eye gouge, and they do all this crazy stuff. And that's why I think the whole UFC on Fox is going to be huge for the sport, because people are going to start getting educated a little bit more and see that we're athletes, we're good people, and it's just a sport.
What is it that you think can be done? Because obviously of what I'm hearing and what I think you're saying is that what you guys are doing outside of the cage can not only be a benefit to the community, but can also bring in more MMA fans. So what is it that you think that promoters can do locally here to kind of get that going?
I think that they can bring some of the mixed martial arts fighters, you know, do seminars, go to maybe schools, middle schools, high schools, stuff like that, do seminars. I know that Sven Bean, you know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a promoter here. And I know he works with troubled youth, and he set me up with a thing at a church. That was pretty cool, where we did a demonstration for a church, and Seth Daniels actually did the same. We went to a church. They put up a cage in the sanctuary, and we did a jiu-jitsu seminar, basically.
Well, then maybe
demonstrated some moves and stuff for the kids.
Well, then maybe I'll speak on behalf of MMA Meltdown and behalf of the media that I control, but maybe it's the media's fault then. Because if there's events like this and there's things going on like that and it's not getting the recognition, maybe that's just because people aren't really focused on that right now.
One of the things that happens is a lot, you know, it's easier to sell a story about, you know, a thug or something negative. And the reality of things is, I've been saying it forever, as you know, MMA industry or people involved in MMA are some of the most charitable people you could ever meet in any sport, in anything. Incredibly accessible, as we were talking about earlier. Very down to earth. Literally, you know, a lot of them come from tough upbringing, so they understand what it takes to kind of turn that new leaf and make positive changes in their lives and stuff like that. And you see a lot of these guys doing it. I mean, Alvin, that's a great example. Perfect example, really, if you think about it. But, you know, that kind of thing is prevalent, and it needs to be covered more because, like I said, it's easy to sell a story on the negative side, but the reality of it is the gem in the whole thing is the positive side of the story. And
I think the majority of the fighters that are really, really committed to it and doing it at a high level, at least in my experience, and I know Alvin and I share the similar experience, both training together over there at Grudge, is that, you know, the majority of these guys, just like Alvin said, are some of the nicest guys I've ever met, you know, and, you know, they're nice. A lot of them college educated, you know, guys with normal lives and wives and things like that. And I think, you know, that's not the typical thing, though. That's, you know, like me, myself, I run one of the Easton schools, you know, and a good majority of every one of my days is spent training kids, you know, and teaching kids. But that's not what you hear about. You know, it is much, much easier to focus on the guys that tend to draw in the ratings, I guess. And maybe we're just not that exciting.
Man, you know, Alvin, I definitely want to thank you for your time. You know, thanks for coming on the show. Was there anybody that you wanted to thank, any sponsors, shout-outs you wanted to give?
Ring of Fire is coming up. I wanted to say definitely all the fans out there, go check that show out. Tyler Toner's the main event. It's one of my training teammates, and he's always putting on exciting fights. Klein Brothers Jiu-Jitsu, they've really stepped up and helped me out a ton. And I want to say thank you to those guys. It's a great school, Jiu-Jitsu school in Arvada. Matt Wyman and Josh from The Ultimate Fighter, those guys stepped it up these last couple of weeks to help me train for this fight. Of course, training out of Grudge, training center, and just everybody that helps me train. Everybody helps put everything together. And, of course, you know, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks, Alvin. Best of luck to you in your upcoming fight. You know, me and you will have to get together with the team and try to figure out how to shed a little bit more light on what's going on and the positive things you guys are doing in the community.
Absolutely. If you guys ever want to do anything for a community, I'm always open to help. Seminars, jiu-jitsu, MMA, whatever I can do to help, I'm in.
I appreciate it, buddy. You have a good one.
Thanks, Alvin.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right. So, man, Alvin's a great guy.
Absolutely.
Class act.
I mean, really didn't expect anything less. Known him for a while now.
Yep.
So, man, and again, I think, you know, the media kind of does have to take a little bit of responsibility.
For sure.
With MMA, and we got about a minute left, so we'll briefly touch on this, maybe pick it up again later on the show. But these are things that do need to be brought to light. It is things that could bring in more ticket sales, which ultimately keeps the fighters fighting, keeps the sponsors sponsoring, because it's a blend. You know, ticket sales, sponsor money. So I mean, I think it can help a lot of different ways.
Absolutely, helping kids gain confidence. You know, quit bullying, getting bullied rather. I mean, that's a big part of it. So
absolutely. What do you think, Vellore?
I think it's definitely going to change. You know, for sure. So definitely looking forward.
You are tuned into the MMA Meltdown radio show.
This is Dwayne Bang Ludwig of the UFC. Come train with me at 303 Training Center in Westminster, Colorado. We offer classes in Bang Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, and mixed martial arts, as well as kickboxing and fitness classes. We have outstanding kids classes to make your son and daughter a champion in school and in life. We make everyone feel part of the team. So whether you want to step into the cage, get in the best shape of your life, and be able to take care of yourself on the street, we're here for you. We're at the corner of 92nd and Harlan, 303trainingscenter.com. Come in today.
Available at your local King Soopers, Loaf and Jug, Jenny's Market, Circle K convenience stores, and 7-Eleven.
The Colorado Fight Book is Colorado's only MMA coupon book for Colorado's MMA industry. We drive you new business, more exposure, more revenue, all at zero cost to advertisers. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we tweet local deals. Fightbook is a win-win situation for all Colorado MMA fans and businesses. We give you repetitive exposure to customers who are already interested in your product. Join the best gyms, events, clothing, and equipment suppliers and promoters in the state.
The best party in town also has the best sports in town. Fox and Hound. Catch all the gameplay action on their big screen TVs. Try all their mouth-watering appetizers and entrees. You'll score big with their selection of ice-cold beers on tap. Get into the Fox and Hound and get into the game. Looking for a great place for your holiday party? They got you covered. Hurry into their 4 Denver area locations today. Fox and Hound. Sports, spirits, and fun.
All right, we are back to the #1 specialty program here on Mile High Sports Radio. 2011 Media's best specialty program, to be more exact, as seen on the pages of Mile High Sports Magazine. My boy Ron, what's up, Ron?
What's happening?
Give me a high five. There we go. It was the weakest high five I've ever got. My boy Vallou's here, but my main man, the main man of the 15 minutes, coming off a main event victory in Strikeforce, Lumumba, heavy hands, gang-related, Sayers. What's going on, Lumumba?
Chilling, man. Just got out of church and just came from praising the Lord, man. So, got to fulfill my obligations as a fighter, as a man of God and a father.
We're gonna talk about the religious situation with you in a little bit later. Nothing crazy, but let's get into a little bit of a deeper thought process. Obviously, Tim Tebow's huge in terms of bringing attention to the religious aspect of sports, so we'll talk about that a little later. But you're coming off of a huge knockout win over Antoine Britt, again in the Strikeforce. What was that, 28 seconds? How long did it take?
Yeah, 28 seconds.
And I've heard people, and I've seen the interviews, and they kind of ask you to walk you through the sequence, but really, I mean, it's not too much you can walk through in 28 seconds.
Thunder and lightning.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to even. That's like Mike Tyson pay-per-view. I'm going to shoot somebody because I just spent $80 on a pay-per-view event. Ridiculousness.
Big bomb.
Sound like my brother.
I mean, I would be angry, but really, that's excitement. I mean, as MMA fans, I think boxing fans can definitely relate to it. But you would enjoy seeing a knockout like that, and it was a huge time for you in your career. I mean, what is it safe to say the biggest fight of your career?
I say it's a big step in my career, not the biggest fight in my career.
What would you say the biggest fight would be?
The biggest fight in my career is yet to come.
So a very important fight, you're saying?
Right.
Gotcha.
Man, Lumumba, you kill me, dog. And if you could see Lumumba, I've said it before, Lumumba is one of the snazziest dressed guys. And I say snazzy like I was alive during an older
40s.
war, yeah. But this guy's sharp. I mean, I got to hook up. Where do you get your gear from?
Different places. Harold Pinner, let me see, Clothing Connection, sometimes Ebony Men's Fashion.
Men. I don't think I can really get down with Ebony Men's. Yeah, me and Ron are kind of out of that one.
I'm too pasty.
Yeah.
What you mean?
What you mean? We'll leave that one alone. So, Lumumba, again, it was a huge step for you in your career. I mean, how excited are you for your future right now? I mean, have you gotten to the point where you and your management team, you and your family, have really sat down and just had that talk of what could be?
Well, I mean, I live life today because yesterday's gone and tomorrow may never come. So I take my life one day at a time and just tackle the goals and the problems that I have one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll prepare for the future, but right now I just live for today, So I just make sure I can get through my day-to-day life and really don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow have its own worries.
What are some of what are some of your challenges on a daily basis?
Well, I just recently got married, so I
don't know if you want to start off a challenge question with saying you just got married.
No, I'm saying so. Like, I'm usually used to like handling things on my own as far as my kids, but my kids are getting older, so I'm going through the teen problems and
Justin Bieber and all that.
Man,
you got to deal with that.
Well, I got a daughter, 13-year-old daughter who looks like she's about 18. So, I gotta pay real close attention to what my kids do and the decisions that they make and try to keep them out of trouble and stuff like that. And then, just staying focused on training and making sure my priorities as the man of my household are taken care of.
Now, fighting is what you do for a living, right?
Yeah.
Now, how difficult or how would you compare it to a traditional 9-to-5 working individual who just goes in, clocks out? Because obviously you got training sessions you have to go to, you got the family life that you have to still deal with, you got all the potential of these different shows, traveling. I mean, the list can go on and on if you really think about it. Sponsors. How hard is it to juggle all that mentally?
Well, I actually have a regular job also.
I'm
a mover. I work for a moving company.
Oh, yeah?
So I get up every morning and hit the truck at 5 o'clock every morning. I work for Father and Son Moving and Storage.
Nice. So if you want, to meet a Strike Force fighter, hit up Lumumba. Because he can help you move. I could have used your help a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I actually got my own moving company also. It's called Flat Rate Moves. So, like, if you need a move, I'll give you a flat rate as opposed to charging you by the hour. I'll give you flat rates on your moves, and you'll have to pay a flat rate regardless of how long the move takes, you know, so
I like
do
your
it all.
style, Lumumba.
I wish I would have known this a few weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. I moved
Seriously.
like 2 blocks, and it was just hassle.
Yeah, just hit me up on Facebook, leave me a message, and if you need to move, I'll move you, you know. I got the pads, you know, I got access to trucks, and just let me know in advance, and I'll show up and move you.
So, obviously, you're a very humble individual. You know, you recognize that the blessings in your life, although they haven't been, you know, easy, they are still blessings. I mean, again, you've gone through a lot of different things. But how nice was it? Because everybody knows, in terms of your amateur career, why you got the name Heavy Hands. But how nice was it to get that recognition now that you're a pro? Because obviously, your other ones were all by submission, right?
Yeah.
So how nice is it to be known as Heavy Hands as a pro?
I mean, it was, I don't know, it was like, I went into a praise instead of like after the fight was over, I like really appreciated that God brought me through that fight, you know what I mean, as fast as he did. The only thing that kept playing in my head before the fight was the battle isn't mine because the Lord's going to defeat you. Because Antoine Britt, he had an attitude that he was going to kill me. He didn't have too much respect for me, the way he was walking around in Vegas. And, you know, it was just funny to me. Like one night I was asleep and my wife pulls up this interview. And it says 96% to 4%, they said he was going to knock me out. And I couldn't go to sleep. I'm like, I ain't never been knocked out in my life. And the only time that they tried to say that I got knocked out was in the fight against Drew Dober, and I passed out in the middle of a punch. He hit me once. I went after him and passed out in the middle of the punch because I only had 3% of my oxygen going to my brain. So I've never been knocked out in my life. So to sit there and read that 96% of the people said that this kid was going to knock me out, man, I couldn't sleep. And I was like, I'm going to knock this kid out. I just said it to myself.
You knew it.
I'm going to knock him out. I said, I'm putting him to sleep.
You got to tell us now what you guys talked about after the fight.
Oh, I walked up to him, and it was funny because throughout his interviews and the way he was acting, first thing I walk up to him and I said, good fight, and kind of laughed and walked off. And he was like, don't apologize. I said, I didn't apologize to you. I said, good fight. And he kind of just dropped his head and was like, I just looked at him like murder. I mean, he said it in one of his interviews. He's like, I'm going to murder this kid. And then he says that I didn't want anything to do with his stand-up game. And I'm like, really? Like, okay.
Don't even know.
So.
Now, again, I kind of want to touch on it a little bit. I mean, obviously the Bronco game's playing. Are you a Bronco fan? You enjoy football at all?
On
any level?
Yeah, one of my best friends used to play for the Broncos, and I had a cousin that played for him.
So, you know, we look at religion in sports has kind of always been kind of taboo. I'm not going to say completely taboo, but it's always addressed at some point. So, and obviously Tebow's getting the kind of response that he's getting from now within the Broncos organization. How important is it to you, with your level of faith, to make your beliefs a part of every action that you have?
Well, I mean, there's a scripture in the Bible, I think is 1 John in the 1st chapter, 4th verse or something like that. I don't know if that's correct, but it says, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. You know what I mean? So I take it as me by myself, I'm nothing. You know what I mean? I'm just a dirty ball of rags, but it's the God that's in me who makes me who I am and who makes it possible for me to do the things that I do. So, you know, a lot of people take credit for the things that they do on their own, and without God, we wouldn't be able to do anything because God is the one who breathed the breath of life into us. You know what I mean? So that's my standpoint of things. Like, I just feel like God has given me the ability to do the things that I do, and without him, I would be nothing. I'd just be a dead soul.
Do you think Tebow's maybe getting a little bit too much?
Well, I think that by Tebow doing his thing, I think people are taking it wrong. I think they're worshiping Tebow rather than worshiping who they're supposed to be worshiping. You know what I mean? They're taking Tebow bowing down and praising God and like calling it Tebow or whatever, you know.
T-Bone.
Yeah. Well, Tebow, it's cool. You know, he's giving the glory to God, but I don't think people should take what he's doing and start naming stuff after him and taking his jersey and putting Jesus on his jersey and stuff like that, because that's basically who they're trying to say, that Tebow's Jesus because of a football game. You know what I mean? I think Tebow should clear that up and let people know that don't worship me, worship God. You know what I'm saying? Because in a way, by them putting Jesus on his jersey, that's what they're doing. They're worshiping Tebow and not God.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to each his own, I think, and I think the people that get offended by watching a guy that respects, his faith is ridiculous.
So you really don't have a problem with the people or with Tebow doing what he's doing. You have a problem with the fans and creating this sort of false idol. And is it safe to say that's what's kind of going on?
Well, I wouldn't say I have a problem because it says, "Judge not, and ye shall not be judged." I'm just saying, in my opinion, that I don't think that people should be. I think people are trying to capitalize off of Tebow praising God.
Just make a quick buck off of it, kind of thing?
Yeah, making a quick buck off of it and actually trying to use people who really don't know the way by doing that. You know what I mean? I think they're trying to just turn religion into I think they're taking Tebow's way of beliefs and trying to turn it into a dollar.
Yeah.
It's definitely, everywhere you look, it's Tebow. I mean, we're talking about it now on an MMA show, so I just kind of wanted to get your idea of it because, again, you are a religious individual, and I have no problem with it. I mean, I don't think you take it to the level that everybody else is trying to compare it to in terms of Tebow. But what's next for you? I mean, I understand you're just fresh off this win, but who's next? Who would you like to fight?
Right now, at this point in my career, whatever Strikeforce puts in front of me, we'll study the opponent. I'll get with my management, Phenom management, and we'll sit down and talk over the opponents. Ricky's been doing pretty good with making sure, the matchups are perfect, So, I've never been the type of person that goes out and picks fights.
Yeah.
But if a fight comes to me, you're going to get a fight.
At one point, do you kind of have to look at the two possibilities of, one, I can pick this guy, or I can hope to get this guy who's going to give me an extreme boost in my what would you call it, in my overall standings, it's somebody like a big hype fight, or do you want that fight that's going to just be a solid fight, it's going to continue on the path that you're on right now, and you're just going to continue to go where you're supposed to go?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just trusting my management and trusting Sean Shelby, and he's a pretty good matchmaker.
Yeah, he is.
So I'm gonna just trust in Sean Shelby and Ricky Vasquez to keep doing what they're doing and picking the right opponents and picking the opponents that's necessary for me to build up my way up the charts.
Man, Phenom and Ricky going big. Vellore, you're Ricky too. Man, Ricky, props to Ricky and Tim. Phenom and DeBella, huge in the sport of local Colorado MMA. Man, Lumumba, it's good having you in finally, bro.
Thank you.
I wasn't here the last time you came. See how you are? You're dodging me. Dodging me all the time.
Hey, you skipped away from me at the last kickdown, so.
No, I didn't skip away from nobody. All right. You are listening to the MMA Meltdown radio show. Go to MMAmeltdown.us for all your news and information. Also check out the local fight scene. Upcoming events, bunch of different stuff, video interviews, tons of different stuff. Again, that's MMAmeltdown.us. Also, go to milehighsports.com. You can stream the show live online.
And they can call.
We still got a fight book to give away. Have you seen the fight book?
We got 2.
No, I haven't seen it.
All right. You are tuned into the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports, AM 1510, FM 93.7.
We know where the real South Park is. We are Mile High Sports.
Science, the official energy drink of the UFC. Available at your local King Soopers, Loaf and Jug, Jenny's Market, Circle K convenience stores, and 7-Eleven.
American Ground and Pound is what the red, white, and blue is all about. This Colorado-born fight gear company provides you with only the best in quality and value. Find our hats, hoodies, and tees for men, women, and youth at AmericanGroundandPound.com or at most Colorado-based MMA events. Show your pride in your country and the world's fastest-growing sport, MMA. Come join the American Ground and Pound Nation on Facebook by searching for American Ground and Pound. American Ground and Pound, Hell yeah, I'm an American.
Hello, this is Alec Baldwin for Save the Manatee Club. In an animated TV show, I was the voice of a marine biologist dedicated to saving Florida's imperiled manatees. It was a lot of fun, but there's a serious side too. Tragically, many of these gentle marine mammals suffer injuries or die from boat strikes, and their habitat is being lost. Manatees need your help. Please call 1-800-432-JOIN or visit www.savethemanatee.org.
When looking for the finest in Mexican cuisine, no one can top the Burrito King Tafolinos. Try our Chicken Mole Wednesdays or our famous smothered burritos while you cool off with an ice-cold margarita. Or do what MMA Meltdown does and conquer the Tafolinos Grande platter. So bring down the family and have a great Tafolinos family night out at one of our convenient locations in Golden on the corner of 20th and Youngfield, or check out our delicious menu at tafolinos.com. Tafolinos.
The best party in town also has the best sports in town. Fox and Hound. Catch all the gameplay action on their big screen TVs. Try all their mouth-watering appetizers and entrees. You'll score big with their selection of ice-cold beers on tap. Get into the Fox and Hound and get into the game. Looking for a great place for your holiday party? They got you covered. Hurry into their 4 Denver area locations today. Fox and Hound. Sports, spirits, and fun.
The Colorado Fight Book is Colorado's only MMA coupon book for Colorado's MMA industry. We drive you new business, more exposure, more revenue, all at zero cost to advertisers. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we tweet local deals. Fight Book is a win-win situation for all Colorado MMA fans and businesses. We give you repetitive exposure to customers who are already interested in your product. Join the best gyms, events, clothing, and equipment suppliers and promoters in the state.
This is Dwayne Bang Ludwig of the UFC. Come train with me at 303 Training Center in Westminster, Colorado. We offer classes in Bang Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, and mixed martial arts, as well as kickboxing and fitness classes. We have outstanding kids classes to make your son and daughter a champion in school and in life. We make everyone feel part of the team. So whether you want to step into the cage, get in the best shape of your life, and be able to take care of yourself on the street, we're here for you. We're at the corner of 92nd and Harlan, 303trainingscenter.com. Come in today.
Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora, opening this December. Join before the club opens and save big with our founding member rates. Hurry into the existing Bally Total Fitness at 13801 East Exposition Avenue in Aurora to join the new Bally Sport and save big today. Restrictions apply. Hurry, offer ends December 15th. Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora, opening this December.
And you are back with the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports, AM 1510, FM 93.7. You're listening to your boy, Matt Sierra.
Boom.
My guest co-host, Ron.
Thank you.
Goldberg, Goldstein, Goldman.
I answered all.
The man, the myth, the soon-to-be legend, Vellore, Caballero. What's up?
You know, what's going on? You know, same thing for me. Just trying to, make it to the next level. That's it.
Man, and it's been awesome these last, I'm going to say last 8 or 9 shows. It's just kind of been a tradition that we have a fighter sit in with us the entire show. I mean, obviously, Jared's a fighter, so, technically, we have a fighter in studio every single show, but it's nice to get you guys' perspective, on it.
It's good to have us here, man. We appreciate it. I know I speak for a lot of the guys when I say, we appreciate you guys reaching out to us. It means a lot.
Oh, get all warm.
I know, right?
Give me a hug. It might be it might be the effect of the third can of Zions. I just put it down, but dang, man.
Woo!
You just got yourself a Christmas card, my friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Make sure you go check out and get some Zions at your local 7-Eleven or King Supers. It's awesome. We got the Axe Murder on this Frostberry Blast. I think that's going to be a limited can, so make sure you get out there and try it now. I'm stocked up.
This is delicious. Really
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
No joke. So, Vellore, let's talk about you, man. We've gotten the whole show where you just kind of, giving us your input on things. But right now, you're going to be talking about defending your title against Andrew, is it Hogeboom?
Hogeboom. I think, yeah.
I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. You know what I mean? It's like MMA.TV and Share Dog had like
3 different
missing and like 8 different records going. Yeah, you got to kind of hope you just get the right one. But 5-4, you're coming off a 3-fight win streak.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of momentum coming in. You belong to two of the strongest camps in Colorado, both in Easton's and both in Grudge.
Yep.
And you're fighting a guy who really is like an animal that's cornered. You know, he's 1-7. He's coming off his own losing streak. I think it's 5 losses in a row.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you can easily look past, though.
No, not at all. I mean, I take all of my opponents seriously. I don't really, focus too much on, what they're going through or whatever. You know, I try to be focused on what it is that I'm doing. I've recently heard about his losing streak, and by all, I have every intention to keep that going for him. No disrespect to him or his camp or anything, but I just think that right now is my time, and I think we're going to go out and show that on next Saturday night, the Kickdown.
Now that you're mentioning Kickdown, all show we've kind of been talking about, local promotions, and I'm sure in the next segment we're kind of going to, gear towards that same way with this show being so Colorado MMA strong and geared. I think it's only appropriate to keep it in Colorado. You look at a couple different shows, and you know that there's some shows you can't take the kids to, and there's some shows that you'll invite your nieces, nephews,
grandmother.
Yeah, everybody to, because the atmosphere is so nice. And Steve Alley at Kickdown Promotions is definitely one of those venues. You go in, it's nice, it's calm, it's not all crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Very well
what
organized.
a great show to be a part of. And you're a champion. I mean, you're one of his champions, so I'm sure he holds a lot of stock in you. But kind of, walk us through why you tend. I mean, obviously you got to defend your title,
Sure.
but why you're not branching out to maybe some of the other promotions?
You know what? As long as I can remember, Steve Alley has always been an amazing promoter and friend to me too. I've known Steve for a long time. I had some of my very first amateur fights on his show, and the show was just very comfortable to me. And like we said earlier, I do run one of the Easton schools, the Littleton and Highlands Ranch Easton Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and so I have a lot of families and stuff that like to come out and support me at fights, and they've communicated to me that they really enjoy, the crowd and the community that Steve has put together that supports his show. And so, I definitely just love getting in there. It's a comfortable place, like I said. And Steve, I've never had an issue with him. He's always taken care of me, and so I always look forward to fighting for him.
Yeah, he's a special guy. I mean, longest running promoter in Colorado for a reason, obviously, and
and humble, and so willing.
I was just about to say,
hang out.
class act from top to bottom. I mean,
Super accessible. I've never had to chase Steve around for anything. I mean, and not that I've ever really needed much. I mean, he always runs the show so well. But if we have ever had any kind of tiny little hiccup or anything, he's always been super accessible and geared to just kind of help me resolve whatever issue there was.
Yep.
So I've been grateful, man. I really have. Like Steve, he pretty much, if you look at it, the majority of my fights, both amateur and pro now, have taken place on his cards, and so I'm grateful for him to keep me in mind. He's always looking out to me, to be on his card, and so I mean that kind of makes it easy.
Now, obviously, loyalties aren't something that expire. They don't go away. But the reality of it is, you want another Zions?
Oh, yeah, of course.
We got all Zions to spare over here. But obviously, you're a fighter that has a lot of upside, a lot of potential still going your way. You and I have kind of talked about, the early struggles in your career, but now it's on a completely different trend. When are you going to get to the point where you have really no other choice but to go to a bigger show?
Well, we're kind of there now, I think. I mean, the last 2 of the last 3 fights were really, really exciting knockouts. And then with the third of those fights being a pretty decisive submission over a really, really tough guy. And so I think, after this next fight, we want to finish the year out strong. And then next year, we're already in talks with, some of the bigger local promotions about getting on some of those cards. I know that Ricky from Phenom Management, my management company, has been talking with a lot of the different promoters. So I think next year people will see me on some different shows. But again, that means nothing about how I feel about Steve Alley. Steve Alley is like I said, a longtime friend and been a great promoter to me.
And probably always will be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Steve is the kind of gracious guy where this is MMA. He's not brand new to it. He knows that there's going to be fighters, and really it's a point of pride in him.
Sure.
Because, it was with his promotion that you grew into what it is that you are right now. And again, it's been awesome seeing your career grow. We've had a couple of hiccups, not necessarily your fault. Guys missing weight, you missing out on opportunities to fight just because of that particular situation. But you say you're on in this next show, and again, we've kind of touched on, where a fighter ultimately wants to end up at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
What is your ultimate goal within MMA?
Man, I'm glad you asked me that. I think a lot of people, and you kind of hear the same answer from a lot of fighters, and I nothing against those guys because I know everybody's different and everybody's journey is different. But for me, my path has always been about, and it will always be about being a coach. I think for me, it means a lot to me to kind of be able to reach out and touch people's lives in that particular way to kind of help them get stronger mentally and physically. And so the end game for me is always about coaching. I think I fight for that experience, to be out there and to have that experience. I mean, that's not saying I don't want to be the best fighter I can, because I do. If I ultimately, I definitely want to make it to the big show and everything like that. But I think in the back of my head, it's kind of always there that for me, what it is about coaching, is about giving back. Like Alvin was saying, like giving back to the young kids and stuff like that. So that's ultimately my goal. I think is to make a name for myself as a fighter, and then use that to reach out and touch people's lives.
That's interesting, because a lot of guys, if you were to ask them, 9 out of 10 guys would say, I want to be a champion. And I think it's really those people like, Royce Gracie to me is one of those guys like you,
mm-hmm.
that he didn't so much really care about the championship. He wanted to show the world, a new thing, a different way,
Yeah.
and change the perception of fighting.
And here's what it is for me, man. Like, I'm already a champion. Every day when I go to
Right.
school, when I go to my academy down there at Easton Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, every single day when I'm in there, man, I get the opportunity to touch a bunch of, young kids' lives and help them become stronger individuals, and I know what the impact's going to be on their lives, even if they don't. And so for me, that already makes me a champion. So,
I agree.
Some belt around my waist doesn't really mean as much to me. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to do it for the notoriety. And like I said, so that I could use that notoriety to then affect people's lives. But, the actual event or whatever of gaining some title or something isn't that important to me.
This goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the positive message of MMA. I mean, it's a clear-cut example again. Very easy to take a negative route and capitalize on viewership and ratings and all that. But again, this is really what it's all about, especially within our own community here. It's awesome. I love it. I love it.
And I have to say
and I know
this
that
too.
you get a lot of respect from the local guys around town too.
Man, I do. And like for me, that's what it's all about. Like I said, I think. And I have a lot of respect for them, too. I was just about to say, like, for me, guys like Alvin Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
Who's one of my teammates over in Grudge, and I remember coming to them as an amateur still, or having just turned pro, and Alvin Robinson was one of those guys who, I look up to and still look up to.
Sure.
And, he was kind of one of the guys that showed me the way, and as far as, like, not just how to be a competitor and everything, which he did, along with guys like Christian Allen and other guys like that, but he also, showed me how to the other side of it. Like you look at a guy like that, and in his off time, he's really reaching out and doing positive things. And I wanted to be that kind of person too. So,
and he's not just talking the talk; he's walking the walk.
Absolutely, and that's important. I think it's more important than any kind of championship or anything like that.
Agreed.
And that's where I'm at with it.
I think it's awesome that, again, I kind of feel bad just because we haven't covered it enough. But I mean, there's a lot of things that these fighters are doing, like yourself, Vellore. And it's just not getting the coverage, like you're saying. Violence sells, and sometimes we're just selling the wrong points as media.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also kind of hard in the way, too, that if you don't know people, it's kind of hard to know what you guys are doing because you guys aren't doing it for the recognition. And I think that's the really awesome part, is that you guys aren't doing it so you can sell, be more appealing to sponsors or be more appealing to promoters. You're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. And, again, I say it all the time, Colorado is so lucky to have a stable of fighters that are just like you.
And we do. There's a big community of guys, and it's like I said, a lot of us feel that same way. I mean, I know I speak for a lot of fighters when I say, and maybe not, but I know for me anyways, I've won some championships as an amateur and as a pro, and I can tell you, like, those are very, very defining moments in my life and make me very proud, but they don't even compare to, like, a positive smile on a child's face that I just helped, like, overcome some obstacle or something like that. It's not even in the same realm. So, I know a lot of the guys feel the same way, and that's how they live their lives as martial artists and, coaches or whatever it is that they do, and to reach back, or to reach out to the youth and stuff.
And, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, I got to give you a lot of credit, you guys here at MMA Meltdown. You guys actually take the time to capitalize on those great positive stories of fighters in studio so that they can get a chance to talk about it and expose it to the fans and the people that are listening. I mean, that's how it should be.
Yep. We appreciate it for sure.
I think there's, it's, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record. It's not that I don't have other things to say, but everybody is so in tune, and Colorado MMA is a cohesive unit.
Very much so.
Everybody understands that it's a relationship to where we need each other, basically. I mean, those, Ring of Fire needs Kickdown, and they need Rocky Mountain Bad Boy. And the same thing, Rocky Mountain Bad Boys and Kickdown, they need to be able to show, hey, if you excel in my promotion, that's where you're going to be.
Yep.
The Ring of Fire's Sven and Seth, they need to be able to say, look at all these guys, they came up through these shows. Thanks to these shows, thanks to these guys putting on these fights, now I have this standout future UFC champion in my show. And now I get to promote that.
Very lucky state.
It's absolutely crazy, and I'll say it probably 80 more times, within the next couple of weeks. December is nuts.
Yes, it is. A lot of fights, guys, but go out there and support these shows. I know for myself, it's important to us fighters to have people there supporting us, and it's important for the MMA community. If you guys aren't doing anything on these Saturday and Friday evenings when these fights are coming up, go out and support your local MMA show, because these guys, Sven Bean, Seth, Steve Alley, all these guys, they work really, really hard to put on these shows. And as a fighter, I can tell you they're doing a great job. And, it means a lot to the promoters and to the fighters to have the stands full. So go out there and fill up these shows.
The other part of it, too, is you got to talk about the entertainment part of it.
That's what I was just about to say.
There is no better time than going out to the fights. There's just no better time.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you take your mom, your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, whatever the case might be. Everybody will be entertained at the fights.
Hey,
and
if you come to the Kickdown next Saturday, guys, I've had, between my amateur and pro career, I'm over 20 fights, and I've never been to a decision. So, if you come out and you look for that main event, you can be guaranteed one
Finish.
thing. It's a 5-round fight, but anyways, right? That's not going to happen. I've never been to a decision. We're not going to go to a decision that night. I'm sure he has the same idea, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you talk about entertainment and money well spent. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I know tons of people, and I'm not knocking it because that's people's lifestyle. I know tons of people that go to a club or go to a bar, drop $50 or $60 on a chick that you're never going to be able to take home anyway if you weren't spending that $50 or $60. Put your money into something that means something. Get some entertainment out of it, get some knowledge. And
take her to the fights.
Right? I'm in
your
MMA.
Team. Support your local people.
I train in UFC.
Hey, real quick, man, before we get out for this break, can I definitely want to shout out to some of my sponsors. I definitely want to thank Performance MMA. Troy over there is always taking care of me for my fights. I really appreciate it. Everybody from Factory X, Grudge, Easton Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Amal Easton, special thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this family. And, my management team, Phenom Management, Future Legend, Brave American Hero, Inked Out for sure. Inked Out, it's a way of life. And everybody else that's ever shown me love. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're beautiful.
Easy gotta love.
Gotta love them, man. That's fantastic.
I would like to thank all of my sponsors.
Crickets.
Zions, American Ground and Pound Inked Out. I could go crazy with it. But you are tuned in to the MMA Meltdown radio show, AM 1510, FM 93.7, where we are Mile High Sports. Well.
We know where Wah keeps his Stanley Cup rings. We are Mile High Sports.
The best party in town also has the best sports in town. Fox and Hound. Catch all the gameplay action on their big screen TVs. Try all their mouth-watering appetizers and entrees. You'll score big with their selection of ice-cold beers on tap. Get into the Fox and Hound and get into the game. Looking for a great place for your holiday party? They got you covered. Hurry into their 4 Denver area locations today. Fox and Hound. Sports, spirits, and fun.
December 17th at 2 p.m., Rocky Mountain Bad Boys, The Beatdown, and American Ground and Pound present Proving Grounds, The Road to Redemption, a benefit for the Thomas Jefferson Wrestling Team. The main event features Jen Little Ice Berg and Stephanie the Scrapper Skinner. Tickets start at just $25. Available at Thomas Jefferson High School and Ticketmaster. Proving Grounds, The Road to Redemption. Brought to you by Rocky Mountain Bad Boys, The Beatdown, and American Ground and Pound. Hell yeah, I'm an American. Science, the official energy drink of the UFC. Available at your local King Soopers, Loaf and Jug, Jenny's Market, Circle K convenience stores, and 7-Eleven.
Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora opening this December. Join before the club opens and save big with our founding member rates. Hurry into the existing Bally Total Fitness at 13801 East Exposition Avenue in Aurora to join the new Bally Sport and save big today. Restrictions apply. Hurry. Offer ends December 15th. Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora, opening this December.
The Colorado Fight Book is Colorado's only MMA coupon book for Colorado's MMA industry. We drive you new business, more exposure, more revenue, all at zero cost to advertisers. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we tweet local deals. Fight Book is a win-win situation for all Colorado MMA fans and businesses. We give you repetitive exposure to customers who are already interested in your product. Join the best gyms, events, clothing, and equipment suppliers and promoters in the state.
This is Dwayne Bang Ludwig of the UFC. Come train with me at 303 Training Center in Westminster, Colorado. We offer classes in Bang Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, and mixed martial arts, as well as kickboxing and fitness classes. We have outstanding kids classes to make your son and daughter a champion in school and in life. We make everyone feel part of the team. So whether you want to step into the cage, get in the best shape of your life, and be able to take care of yourself on the street, we're here for you. We're at the corner of 92nd and Harlan, 303trainingscenter.com. Come in today.
Hey, Karen, do you want to go see a movie tonight?
Maybe some other night. I'm a mentor for Minds Matter on Monday nights during the school year.
Minds Matter? What's that?
Minds Matter is a volunteer-run organization that helps transform the lives of high-achieving Denver high school students from low-income families by helping them attain a college degree. 100% of the students in the program have been accepted to a 4-year university and received scholarships.
That's awesome. It sounds like fun, too.
It is. It's so rewarding. Visit mindsmatterdenver.org to find out how to volunteer.
mindsmatterdenver.org. I'm going to check it out right now.
Gotta wait for it. You gotta wait for it.
I love it.
I can't wait for it. Today's show has been too crazy.
I love it.
You are tuned in to the MMA Meltdown radio show here on Mile High Sports AM 1510 FM 93.7, or you might even be streaming us from milehighsports.com. My boy Ron's been with me the entire show.
Loving it. Loving
it. Huge special thanks to our guests today, Alvin Robinson, Lumumba Sayers, and Vellore Caballero, who stood with us pretty much the entire show.
Yep.
I mean, these
Great
guys.
guys, man.
Yeah, these guys
Great
already.
guys.
You figure. You know, I kind of look at today's everybody within MMA and maybe everybody in general. You look at Sunday, and Sunday is family time.
Yep.
You know, you're away from your family.
Yep.
You know, my wife and my son are at home right now. You know, probably just waiting for me. And it's awesome that these guys could take time apart from that and an already hectic schedule and make time to come on the show. And it's just. It's heartwarming. Like, I'm getting all emotional and I'm getting choked up.
Getting me all misty-eyed over here again. That's twice.
Twice. Man, I'm going to go home and watch Sex in the City and capitalize on this emotional situation I'm in right now with the wife.
Wow.
I don't know. But, again, it's been a huge show. You know, it's been mainly geared towards Colorado MMA.
And positivity.
And positivity. And that's really all that MMA is about. I mean, you know.
100%.
All the doubters and the haters, I hate to use that term, haters of MMA, you know, they have their certain ideals that they want to push and their certain...
You know, I don't even think it's that they're haters. I just think that they're uneducated about... They're naive about what everybody in this business does and how they go about their day.
There's a reason why this is the world's fastest growing sport. And legitimately, when we can say that, it's not a tagline, it's not some kind of gimmick, anything we're trying to push.
It's
MMA is a huge sport in multiple countries. And it's not going to be long before we're pushing soccer over to the world sport, you know, as a world sport. I would enjoy, you know, who knows where it's going to go, Olympics?
Hey, listen, I mean, that's the whole goal. We were talking about this the last time, you know. I mean, I'm thinking Olympic sport soon because if you really break it down, every other discipline of MMA is already in the Olympics.
I think it's ridiculous that they have trampoline in the Olympics, but they don't have MMA.
They will. I'm telling you. There's
don't try to calm me down. I'm already upset.
Too much science, baby.
It's good science.
No, but I think that you know, that aspect of Olympic sports, I think that the high school and collegiate level club sports is going to be something that becomes introduced sooner rather than later. And again, you know, everybody, this sport is about discipline and focus and commitment, and those are life lessons. These aren't just sports lessons. So you cannot have a bad turnout when you implement those major pillars of a character into your normal life. It's unavoidable.
It's so big to the point that I would say Colorado may potentially, it's not going to be labeled as this in any fashion, but Colorado potentially has one of the first MMA schools in terms of educational schools. Coach Eric Hines, former fighter, referee, all-around great guy. At his school, Bromley's charter school, there's 2 wrestling programs, the Brighton Bulldog and then the school's actual wrestling program. But now Coach Hines has gotten the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program implemented as school curriculum.
This is what I was talking about. Exactly.
I mean, you got that. You got Zingano's like literally 2 minutes south of that particular school, and it's just going to be crazy. I mean, there's no denying what MMA is going to be. Now it's how do you capitalize on it?
There's another aspect of it is when you see fans or when you see people that are attending fights or into the fight scene, you're talking about some passionate people. I mean, these guys are passionate fans.
Yeah.
And what's everybody's biggest problem in the United States is that they hate what they do for a living. And when you get into a situation where you can be incredibly passionate about what you do and about what you love, it's not a job. It's something that's it's a passion, and then that passion really becomes infectious towards other people too. You see it. I see it every day.
I don't think you should pair the words passion and infection ever again.
Infectious.
There you go.
Infectious.
Speaking of somebody who has a passionate outlook on their job, Bettina Lucci of Studio Vienna at Shred a New Look. It's located right next to Wits End, located also right next to 303 Training Center. Yep. Absolutely fantastic sports massage options there. They got different packages you can get into. Go check them out. They're at 6050 West 92nd Avenue in Westminster. You can give her a call at 303-424-6461. But I think that's definitely another side. I mean, there's so many aspects of MMA. Sure, I mean, people might just look at MMA and just think about the fighting. You and I obviously know there's tons. There's training. There's sponsors.
There's a micro industry
family.
around
I mean,
it.
I wouldn't even call it a micro industry.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right.
It's huge.
You're right.
But again, there's so many different hands that make this wheel churn. The fighters are just the gate of really what this sport's about. I mean, you got sponsors like Inked Out and American Ground and Pound that aren't out just for the fast buck. You know what I mean? Hoodies for the homeless. Mike is from American Ground and Pound is doing the Thomas Jefferson benefit.
Yep.
Inked Out doing the hoodies for the homeless.
Yep.
Without their support, fighters there and the support of other sponsors. Without that type of support, it's not going to be as easy as it is right now. I mean, it may not even be possible. I mean, if you think about it, because promoters can't pay these guys the kind of money that they need to survive on this.
Right. I mean, look, and this goes back to what we were saying earlier. These guys have a huge passion for what they do, and they literally, the money is a secondary thought. I mean, these guys do it because they love to do it. And when you have that priority first, everything else just really does seem to fall into place. And people feel that from you. They understand that you love this, and this is not a game or a show or an act. You love this, and when you love something like this, and in return you create these opportunities that these guys have done. I mean, you're talking about some of the best sponsors in MMA, let alone Colorado.
And Colorado's the home of HDNet.
Absolutely. I mean, just tremendous growth out of here. I mean, it's a phenom, really, what's going on here.
And
beautiful.
Really, the easiest way, because there is a lot going on, so I can kind of see how, as a casual fan, just kind of looking from the outside in, it's a bit overwhelming with all the different stuff that you got going on, especially here locally in Colorado, let alone, I mean, because let's be realistic, a lot of people get into MMA because of the bigger shows like UFC, Strikeforce.
That's what they see.
So it's kind of tough for people to follow that and then local MMA as a casual fan. But if you do want to get into the local Colorado MMA scene and see potential UFC, Zuffa fighters, Bellator's becoming huge.
Absolutely.
Then go to these local shows.
I agree. And look, it supports our local economy. That is such a big deal for not just for for MMA. I mean, for our economy. This is how you stimulate it. This is how you show support. This is what fires up these fighters to put on these dazzling performances. I mean, these guys here in Colorado, what I love about these guys in Colorado, nobody fights for a blanket win. These guys all fight for bonuses, and you just can't beat that when you're coming to watch a spectator sport. It's unbeatable.
I kind of talked to Vellore a little bit about it, and Lumumba. Everybody has these different aspirations within their MMA career. The thing about these fighters and their outlook on their careers is that it's always going to be realistic, because MMA is a sport where you can't let your mouth write checks that your fist can't cash.
Right.
The very first time I talked to Chris Holland, I asked him, where you want to go? Ultimately, where do you want to be? And at that point in time, it was right before his fight against Brandon Thatch. Yeah. and he goes, you know what, Matt, this is where I want to be. This is my UFC. And then, so that's awesome. He's living his dream, literally living his dream right now.
Yep.
And then
Vellore, too.
Yeah, Vellore is a good guy. And then you got Brandon Thatch.
Yep.
Brandon Thatch on his way to a Canadian contract here, hopefully. I think he's Zuffa ready right now. I've seen fighters on Zuffa and Bellator that don't have half the talent that an individual like Brandon Thatch has. And we have the whole spectrum of fighters here. So really, if you want to go to a local fight, if you want to follow the fight scene, go to MMAmeltdown.us. We'll have the event calendar there. We'll have articles so you can get to know the fighters there, so you're not just going in there kind of blindly, not knowing who's who. Maybe even get a chance to take pictures, because now you've seen the individuals. Now you kind of know a little bit of something, and you can actually talk to them about it.
I was just going to say, if you ever want to have a conversation with them, all you got to do is just walk up to them. They're dying to share their knowledge and their passion for what they do with you, whether they know you or not. And they love taking pictures with fans. I mean, that's what really warms their hearts too.
What I love to see is the transition that fans make into actually becoming an individual that will be going to the gym every day.
Well, that's what this is all about. This is about bettering yourself. And that's why so many people that watch MMA literally become involved in it, because they feel, hey, man, I can be in better shape. Or, I need more discipline in my life. And
just healthier, live healthier.
Exactly. There is no better way to go about it than this, and no better way.
Because there's nothing wrong with doing something, and that something has the side effects of a healthier lifestyle, weight loss, better eating habits. Because the reality is you're not going to go train for 2 months and then go home and sit down with the number 5 supersized extra large with extra mayonnaise on it, because you don't want to waste all that.
You crave good things, good healthy things, once you start getting into these programs and regimens.
Man,
you like that?
You're all right.
Thanks, man.
You're all right.
I'm trying. I'm trying to keep up with the new era.
Yeah, or if you can't, and again, I understand, and I'm not saying it's easy just to go pull money out and take food away. It's still a tough economy, regardless of what the TV says and the news say. It's still a rough economy out there. So if you can't make it to the fights, please hit up your media resources. I mean, I have no problem. I'm not sitting here, as much as I would like to, and as much as I hope that people make MMA Meltdown their number one source for MMA news. The reality of it is you're with a different company completely. MMABuzz.com, J.R. Gordon, who does our opening segment, he has his own website, and J.R. Gordon does one of the best jobs ever in terms of keeping people up to date with play-by-play during the show. So if you can't get to a fight, if you can't get to the fight, go to J.R. Gordon's Facebook page, or go to MMA Buzz Facebook page, MMABuzz.com. They'll get you going along.
Absolutely.
And just, I mean, it's kind of hard to get the excitement out of that. But, I mean, just the fact that there's all these different ways of you accessing this information, there's really not a reason other than just lack of interest for you not to get interested.
Right, being lazy.
I mean, Chris, you've been doing the show for a while now. I mean, have you had a change in your interest level from when we first started this show to now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wish I could. I want to go see some fights for sure. I listen to you guys talk about it, and it's definitely an interest level. And I mean, Matt, you know better than anybody. I didn't know anything about MMA coming into this show, and now I know a lot more about it.
Yeah, and, that's really what we want to do. I mean, we kind of got away from it, but not completely, because when we first started doing the show with Chris was a brand new guy, not to this station. I mean, he's been doing it, and he does a great job, but he's brand new to MMA, and we were kind of bringing him in. But I think if you're just tuning into our show as a casual fan, or just happen to be on the station by mistake thinking that another program was on and you heard the show, I mean, the stories are there, the storylines are there, the personalities are there. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be a fan of MMA.
100%, regardless of age, regardless of gender.
It's just more about it's more than just fighting. I mean, obviously,
lessons.
That's the end result that everybody's working towards. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think that MMA, if you can take the time, and it's not a lot of time, but if you can take the time to develop some type of slight knowledge of the sport and what it's about, really, you're just going to be hooked right away. I mean, I was a diehard Bronco fan for my entire life. I mean, my grandma had me sitting, in front of the TV, can't say a word during her Bronco game for my entire life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And this year,
and now Grandma's watching the fights.
No, Grandma's yeah, she's in a special place. But yeah, it's a situation where I haven't even watched a Bronco game. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm missing the game right now. I know Chris is probably watching the Bronco game because he writes for MileHighSports.com. But it's just, I just don't see the greed in MMA like you do in the NFL or even the
very
NBA.
Humble guys.
You're never going to see an MMA lockout.
Very, very humble guys, and again, that translates down into to the students that they train, that translates down into the way that their students treat other people. It's a very, very beautiful trickle-down effect once you kind of led by example, and these guys are just the best examples. They really are. Again, they're not just hooligans that throw fists. These guys are classy guys. They're just competitors. It's no different than wrestling against somebody. It's no different against, playing tackle football in the backyard. It's just a competition, nothing more.
And I'm not saying this just to hype up the sport and hype up the Colorado MMA scene. I have yet to talk to a thug who understands MMA and still lives that crazy lifestyle.
They can't. You can't.
You know what I mean? If you're in this sport, you're dedicated to the sport 100%, and there's nothing that you're going to stray away from. Look at the NFL. I mean, Tim Tebow is getting guff about being religious. You got guys in the NFL that did time for shooting themselves in the leg for taking a gun to a club. You got guys who served jail time for having dogfights. And I'm not saying that they didn't do the right thing by doing their time and they didn't make it up or whatever the fact may be. But you just don't hear stories like that coming out of MMA. And it's not because it's not getting enough attention.
No.
Those things do not happen in this sport.
And again, we talked about it earlier. Even if they did come up from a really rough upbringing, they figured that MMA is the vehicle to change their life for the better, to make those positive changes so that those types of things that they did in the past are not part of their future lives. And again, a lot of these guys have children now, and they're teaching their kids the right way to do things, and very, very important discipline levels. It's just a beautiful sport from top to bottom.
No individual is out there thinking that it's just them. There's a whole team behind them. There's coaches. I mean, it does take a village. But me and you, we got tons more talking to do. Let's go hit up Tafalinos after this. Get some margaritas, Mexican hamburger. You're paying, of course.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm on a budget.
Wow.
I got tickets to buy.
I just got stabbed.
What is that about? You just got stabbed. Is that some kind of joke?
It is a joke.
People are going to walk around thinking that I stab people.
No, I'm not bleeding yet.
You have been listening to the MMA Meltdown radio show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll get a recap of today's show on MMAmeltdown.us. Thanks for tuning in, and you are listening to the MMA Meltdown radio show on Mile High Sports AM 1510, FM 93.7. We are Mile High Sports.
American Ground and Pound is what the red, white, and blue is all about. This Colorado-born fight gear company provides you with only the best in quality and value. Find our hats, hoodies, and tees for men, women, and youth at AmericanGroundandPound.com or at most Colorado-based MMA events. Show your pride in your country and the world's fastest-growing sport, MMA. Come join the American Ground and Pound Nation on Facebook by searching for American Ground and Pound. American Ground and Pound. Hell yeah, I'm an American.
The Colorado Fight Book is Colorado's only MMA coupon book for Colorado's MMA industry. We drive you new business, more exposure, more revenue, all at zero cost to advertisers. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter as we tweet local deals. Fight Book is a win-win situation for all Colorado MMA fans and businesses. We give you repetitive exposure to customers who are already interested in your product. Join the best gyms, events, clothing, and equipment suppliers and promoters in the state.
The best party in town also has the best sports in town, Fox and Hound. Catch all the gameplay action on their big screen TVs. Try all their mouth-watering appetizers and entrees. You'll score big with their selection of ice-cold beers on tap. Get into the Fox and Hound and get into the game. Looking for a great place for your holiday party? They got you covered. Hurry into their 4 Denver area locations today. Fox and Hound. Sports, spirits, and fun.
Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora opening this December. Join before the club opens and save big with our founding member rates. Hurry into the existing Bally Total Fitness at 13801 East Exposition Avenue in Aurora to join the new Bally Sport and save big today. Restrictions apply. Hurry. Offer ends December 15th. Lift, kickbox, swim, and save at the brand new Bally Sport Club in Aurora opening this December.